On the sidelines of the different activities here and our special coverage here on Nile TV International of COP27, this history-making event in Egypt, we're really honored to have with us His Excellency Ambassador Christian Berger, head of the European Union delegation to Egypt. Your Excellency, thank you so much for joining us, and it's great to seeing you at such a history-making event, as I said.
Great pleasure being here, and thank you for this opportunity to speaking with you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Talking about this sense of partnership between Egypt and the EU, and especially also in fighting climate change, we are joining hands together.
Yes, indeed, and we have been doing this for quite some time. For us, climate action is one of the top priorities, and you will see this in the composition of the delegation that will come from the European Union tonight, actually, to Sharm el-Sheikh. So it's the President of the European Council, the President of the European Commission, and during the next 10 days we will also have 3-4 commissioners coming to take part in the ministerial days, but also to speak with their counterparts on the Egyptian side, the ministers on the Egyptian side, because there are a number of important topics that we want to continue working on. One is, of course, energy and the cooperation on the development of renewable energy, so solar, wind. And then the other one, a very important one at the moment, is the production and the generation of green hydrogen, which is on a top priority also for the European Union. And for the first time, you may have seen, for the first time, water is a topic for COP27. So there will be also, in the follow-up to the Cairo Water Week, we will have important talks on water issues with our Egyptian counterparts.
Yes, definitely, Ambassador, and it has been a long way to go. I know quite well that there has been a sense of partnership between Egypt and the EU working together for the different projects of Egypt's new republic, the different developmental projects bearing into consideration going green and the environmental factor. And the EU has been putting its heavy weight in that respect.
Yes, and as I said, this is not only since yesterday. We have been doing this for a long time, and we are very happy with this partnership and the response that is there in creating something new in this country. And that has to do a lot with renewable energy. So we have done a lot of work with Egypt on solar energy, on wind energy. For example, we are supporting the construction of a wind farm in the Gulf of Suez, in the Gulf of Said. So there are many projects also on solar energy, on research on solar energy. And in the partnership priorities that we agreed earlier this year, we've also agreed to make Egypt, or to support Egypt's endeavors to become a hub for energy and renewable energy development in the Middle East and in Africa.
Yeah, this important COP, Your Excellency, COP27, is actually branding Egypt globally. Egypt is expected to speak the voice of Africa also at COP27. What are we expecting from this COP? What sort of messages, in your opinion, does COP27 send from Sharm to the world?
I think, first of all, it is very important where this COP27 is taking place. It's taking place in Egypt, in an African country. So yes, the theme will be very much focused on Africa, and we will be very supportive of that. Because we have said time and again that we want to support the most vulnerable communities. We want to make sure that the pledges that have been made in the past for those communities are being met. It has been extended a little bit, but nevertheless, I think will be one of the messages that the financial pledges, for example, that were made a few years ago, or beginning at the Copenhagen meeting in 2009, that these pledges will be fulfilled, and it's a combination of governments, non-governmental organizations, civil society organizations, and private sector to come together to support the most vulnerable communities in this world.
Yes, it's very important, as Your Excellency has just mentioned, the private sector putting hand in hand with the governments. What we really need for climate action is also providing innovative solutions for climate change, and this is actually happening. How are we going to build momentum on what is really happening in COP here? What's after?
I've seen many ideas, many projects that will be presented here. People have already told us a little bit what they're going to do. So on development of new technology, I think that's very important. On discussions on risk prevention, on risk management. Again, these are very important topics where also the private sector can come in by developing new ways of addressing this issue. So we will see a lot of presentations, and I hope that these presentations will also take root in a commercial way, that this can be then later on also rolled out and become available for a bigger number of countries that need this new technology and new development. So in that sense, COP27 will offer a big opportunity to the private sector to really be innovative, and because this is not only an issue for governments, it's also an issue for all of us, for private sector, for civil society, for all of us that are affected by climate.
Mm-hmm. I know quite well that Your Excellency is also paying special attention to more than one field, the field of environment definitely, and also education, because education means awareness, and awareness is very important if we're talking climate action.
Absolutely. So we have done a number of awareness actions over the year here in Egypt. We do this in many countries around the world. So once a year we have actually two important weeks in September and in October. One has to do with public transport. How to promote public transport and to get away, for example, that everything you want to do you have to do by car. No, you can also use the train, the bus, the tram, and we are not only saying this, we're also doing it by supporting the development of the metro system, for example, in Cairo, but also the tram line rehabilitation in Alexandria. So there are many practical projects that go hand in hand with our policies. And I think this is one of the messages that we want to promote here.
Yes, definitely. Your Excellency, if we're going to prioritize the files, especially after attending COP27 and after witnessing the recommendations and the sense of partnerships that are going to be held here, what would be the priority file?
Well, I think the main important file is to reach the temperature goals. I think this is a very important topic for any COP, I would say, but this one in particular because it's implementation, and how to help the most vulnerable communities to reach those goals and to support them in doing so. I think these are very important issues that will be discussed in the next 2 weeks.
Yes, training is also very important, and coaching vis-a-vis climate action, and also making the youth be hands-on. And Egypt, under the leadership of President Sisi, is investing in the youth. So we're going to see here at COP27 special sessions actually dedicated to the youth participation. How do you see that? And definitely with the EU we have a partnership in training.
Yes. I think we have talked to many young people over the last few weeks, and we had special events, and we can see the enthusiasm and the dedication of young people to address this issue. After all, it's their future. So I think there's a very strong drive in addressing all these points. Education for us is also an important topic here in Egypt. We have a technical vocational training program. It's now program number 2. Where we work with the government in setting up institutions that can provide this technical vocational training, but we also come in on the other end when it comes to universities. We have a close cooperation with Egyptian universities, between European universities, Egyptian universities, with the Erasmus program, the Erasmus Plus program, where we do an exchange program for students, but also cooperation between universities, so teachers can be exchanged and academic research can be done. And there's a second program which is now coming on stream, which is called Horizon Europe, which is a research and scientific program, where we get different institutions to work together on scientific topics. This is the biggest program in the European Union when it comes to science and technology, and we hope that many Egyptian institutions will take part in that.
That would be great, since we are also, moving digitally and taking a long path in that respect. So this is going to be also a great step on the road.
I mean, digital is one of the big goals that we have set for ourselves. So on the one hand is the Green Deal of the European Union to make the economy more sustainable and more green, and disconnect energy consumption from growth of the economy, and digital is the other one, which has been a very important topic for you for 2 years now. And a lot of research, a lot of scientific research is going into this at the moment. And there we hope to work closely with Egypt. And Egypt will also take part in what we call a flagship project that we do in the next few years, where we focus specifically on this issue.
That's great. Your Excellency, as you've mentioned, that since COP27 is being held in Egypt, that is in fact an achievement. Your messages through Nile TV International to the world as we speak from COP27.
Watch very carefully what is being discussed here. There are very important topics that are being negotiated and discussed, and also let's all of us, governments, civil societies, private sector, all of us make sure that these goals will be implemented.
Yes, thank you so much, Your Excellency, Ambassador
Thank you very much.
Berger, head of the EU delegation to Egypt. That was His Excellency Ambassador Berger, head of the European Union delegation in Egypt, talking to us about his impressions. Definitely a strong bond between Egypt and the EU vis-a-vis climate change action. And it is in the key word, or the magical word, which is togetherness. Together we can do a lot. Stay with us. We still continue our coverage of COP27 here on Nile TV International. Stay tuned.